Sea of Thieves dropped its second and final patch of Season 12 today, and my expectations were low, but here it is. We'll go over the massive Emporium refresh, a paltry gold shop release, and some world changes. Oh, and the ship speeds have been changed too, 6 years into the game's life cycle, amongst some other changes that we'll get into later. It's not a lot, it's par the course for these monthly updates, but here's the roundup. Starting with the gold shops, we're back on the sword drip feed grind set. We have 3 sets of heavy swords and rapiers for the Ocean Crawler set. They're just okay. Each month will be a lucky dip of swords, so you better hope yours comes up next. Spoilers, it's probably the Kraken swords next month. There's also gold hoarder boots randomly. I guess these might have been for the gold hoarder costume that has been turned into clothing last year. It's better late than never, I guess, and it's great for people who love the gold hoarders. The new Kingly jacket also got a new recolor, this time with the crab version. Any guesses what next month's will be? Spoiler, it's going to be the Kraken. And that's it for the earnable cosmetics this month. Now for the Emporium extravaganza. Rare in their infinite wisdom has dropped a recolor for the Warsmith set. This includes the costume with both old and new variants receiving a beardless variant, a ship, nameplate and weapons. I have to admit, the set is even cooler than the original counterpart. It seems like the Dark Warsmith will continue to make bank for Rare. More like Microsoft actually. In all seriousness, it's a nice set, but be warned, you get no discounts if you own the original and you have to pay full price for a palette swap. Oh, and if you own the original one and you want the beardless version, you have to pay full price for the bundle. You can't buy it separately. You can also get the new Pet Protector ship set, which is pet themed. It's alright, it fits the Emporium well. As a matching pet called the Painted Cat, which I'm sure is some form of animal abuse, let's hope it just looks like it's painted. Don't spray paint your pet, kids. The Paradise Garden costume is pretty nice. I know Captain Blubber will like this. These are the kinds of items I expect to see in the Pirate Emporium. Oh boy, and hold on to your hats for this one. Rare has decided to release another paid curse, one that is supposed to match the Stormfish Chaser set from Season 10's Plunder Pass. If you bought the Plunder Pass, you can pay full price for this one. There's no discounts. It's bad enough that it's another paid curse and people weren't very receptive to this. It's not even like you get a discount for those who paid for the Plunder Pass in Season 10. You need to pay an additional 499 coins for this. It wouldn't be so bad if you got it for half price if you already supported the game before. At least the Stone Curse was bundled in, but I suppose there was no clothes in Season 12's. So is it good value for money? Please let me know down below. I really feel like Microsoft is the one pushing this and Rare has to take the brunt of the criticism. After the recent closures, I can imagine all studios had similar conversations and had to prove to Microsoft that they're going to make cash. I just feel there's a better way of doing this, and it doesn't really go very well with the lack of activities in the mid-season, where the updates have gone back to a boatload of nothing between seasons. As soon as seasons are seasonal again, something else comes up or suffers that detracts from the momentum of this game. At least Season 13 is only 5 weeks away. Anyway, moving on to some actual cool stuff. Rare has decided to buff the double barrel pistol and it does feel up to scratch now. There is less of a delay when charging up to fire both barrels, and you can just hold the fire button while reloading and it will start charging immediately. The individual spread of each projectile is now tighter, supposedly, and the damage for the double shot is now 90 up from 80. The weapon is much better and feels far less clunky. I don't think it has a place in the meta yet simply because of how good the blunderbuss and eye reach combo is, but it's still a very, very welcome change. And there's big changes for ship speeds. Just to be clear before, the brig is essentially too fast and can catch a sloop going against the wind if the sloop isn't exactly heading straight against the wind. Rare has changed it so flat sails on the sloop no longer offer a benefit when facing against the wind. All ships must now turn the sails to the left or right to grab the wind to sail full speed against the wind. The sloop should be the fastest, then the brig and then the galleon, and then the inverse for sailing with the wind in their sails. When sailing with the wind, more sails should equal a bigger buff. When sailing against the wind, more sails should equal a bigger nerf. Running should be piss easy now on a sloop and the brig should expect not to be as nippy. I don't think it's a massive change in the meta, since crews of equal skill could not change the outcome of a chase anyway. Now the ship should perform more closely to how they were always meant to. I do plan on doing some testing on this eventually. Overall, it's long overdue, now people can stop complaining about the brig being faster. The commendations for Season 12 have also been rebalanced to not be such an egregious grind. The figures are unknown since they're not in the patch notes. All commendations will be stuck at their previous grade, so you need to progress them for the new numbers to update. So don't worry, you haven't lost progress. This is a well-needed change in my opinion, some of those commendations were ridiculous. Now onto the world changes and lore musings, my favourite part of Sea of Thieves. and the current Tasha situation is pretty dire. The Reapers have broken into the tavern and have stolen the sword. It's just gone. The Pirate Lord has some new dialogue and laments the sword being lost, apparently because his forces were spread thin and the most powerful artifact on the seas was just not a priority for him. The lore is just so disappointing and has no effort put behind it. It undoes so much of the story in a few dialogue boxes, and it's such a lazy way of bringing back Flameheart. Sorry guys, and sorry to anyone who's worked on this, the story just doesn't excite me much anymore. The new card at Port Merrick is king, no surprises there. It's just talking about Flameheart's resurrection. However, the orb is fluent in Japanese and apparently has something interesting to say. It talks about someone sitting in their study, being mournful over something. Then a horse and carriage arrives at their estate, and whoever is on that carriage knocks on the door. We know Flameheart had a study in his estate that was left to the Servant of the Flame after he died, but the fact that it's in a green land suggests that Flameheart maybe sat in his estate in the Sea of the Damned, and has been waiting for this person to come get him. This is somewhat interesting stuff. I'm intrigued to see if this goes anywhere. Let's hope the lore recovers in Season 13, because we have no explanation of where Flameheart has been, how his ship comes back, and what the skeleton camps are for. And that does it for the update. A confusing outing for lore and bizarre business practices for the premium cosmetics. The update just confuses me. We've gone from a really strong start to the year to a mess of lore, some strange pacing, and some odd choices for cosmetics mixed in, with some actual good changes to ship speeds, the flintlock, and commendations. If there's anything to take away from this update, it's those really smart changes.